Alright, good evening folks, it's Enforcer Matt, and welcome back to another short war video, and today we have more major developments in Iran, Russia, and Ukraine, so let's jump right into it. This morning, reports say the US Navy's deployed underwater drones in the Strait of Hormuz to attempt to reopen the critical shipping lane from Iranian control, and it's unclear if the efforts have been successful. Meanwhile, this morning, US officials have reissued very strong threats against Iran, telling the regime that if they do not sign a peace deal, then the US military is going to blow the whole country up, and they claim this would include bridges and every single power plant inside of Iran. We've also heard reports that the Iranian proxy forces in Yemen are threatening to close the Bab al-Mandeb Strait in the Red Sea, which is another critical shipping route if the US attacks begin to take place on Iran in the very near future. And we've also seen a massive explosion in Iran at a facility linked to the shipbuilding industry in one of Iran's cities near the coast, and it's unclear what caused the explosion, but it was certainly a very big one, and we have the footage from that explosion. So we have very big news coming out of Iran, and right now we are still waiting for 0 hour to begin once again, because the war is about to kick off imminently, and we're waiting to see what's going to happen with this situation. But jumping into our first article, this one goes to Current Report. And right now, this is one of our biggest stories of the day. We are currently seeing that the US Navy has deployed autonomous underwater drones in the Strait of Hormuz in an attempt to clear the sea mines placed by Iran, and the aim is to reopen the critical shipping lane. So as we know, apparently Iran has deployed, though we've been told in the past, about 12 sea mines in the Strait of Hormuz, and it's believed to be that they're floating around in the international waters area of the Strait of Hormuz. So that is what's believed to be the case right now, and now we're seeing that apparently the US Navy is deploying these brand new autonomous sea drones to go and seek out these mines that are in the strait and to basically alert the US military to where they're at. And I'm not really sure if these drones have the ability to destroy or displace the sea mines, but I believe they can at least locate them, and that might help in the future with clearing the mines out of the strait. So not entirely sure of what the capabilities of this drone is, but we do see a brand new measure by the US military by launching these drones in the strait. So far we've not seen Iran respond to this, by the way. Apparently these drones are underwater, obviously, so you really can't detect them that easily. So I'm not sure if Iran could do anything about this if they even wanted to, but this is a pretty neat step that the US is taking to try to clear out the strait. But moving into our next post here, moving on from this piece of news, which is kind of interesting, we have something else that is kind of interesting and kind of a little bit scary at the same time. We're seeing brand new threats coming from the US officials toward Iran, and these are some pretty big threats. So let's take a look. And as you can see right here, there's a brand new Truth Social post from the US president, and it is a crazy one. So let's take a look at it and see what he said toward the Iranian regime. He said, Iran decided to fire bullets yesterday in the Strait of Hormuz, a total violation of our ceasefire agreement, and many of them were aimed at a French ship and a freighter from the United Kingdom. That wasn't nice, was it? My representatives are going to Islamabad, Pakistan, and they will be there tomorrow evening for negotiations, and Iran recently announced that they were closing the strait, which is strange because our blockade has already closed it, and they're helping us without knowing, and they are the ones that lose with the closed passage $500 million a day, and the United States loses nothing, in the president's words. And in fact, many ships are headed right now to the US, Texas, Louisiana, and Alaska to load up, compliments of the IRGC, always wanting to be the tough guy. We're offering a very fair and reasonable deal, and I hope they take it, because if they don't, get this, the United States is going to knock out every single power plant and every single bridge inside of Iran. No more Mr. Nice Guy, says the president. He said they'll come down fast, they'll come down easy, and if they don't take the deal, he says it will be my honor to do what has to be done, what should have been done to Iran by other presidents for the last 47 years, and he said it's time for the Iran killing machine to end, signed the US president. So there is a lot to unpack in this post. Number one, he admits there was a violation of the ceasefire by Iran. So that's number one. Number two, he's saying that they're going to engage in another round of negotiations with the Iranian regime, despite them violating the ceasefire. Number three, he said that somehow the United States is not really losing anything, even though the Strait of Hormuz is blockaded. So, it's sort of weird with that. Why is the U.S. trying to reopen it if we're not losing anything? So a little bit strange with that. But also, we do see here at the bottom, the most important part part of his post, he is back to the very extreme threat that the U.S. is going to knock out every single bridge in Iran and also every single power plant inside of Iran. So, that was a very controversial threat before because, it's debatable whether or not, that's something that can be hit right now or not. I know people are going to say, well, bridges are always targets in war, and there's a fair debate about that, but I will say this is a rather extreme threat, and it's going to affect not only the military inside of Iran, it's also going to affect the people in Iran as well. So it's a pretty big threat, and we're seeing it being issued yet again today in this post. But with that, folks, we're moving on to our next article here, and this one goes to Fox News, and it sounds like the U.S. president made an even wilder statement to Trey Yingst, a reporter at Fox News, and he says this is the last chance for Iran to agree to a deal, vowing not to make the same mistake as a former president. And here's what allegedly the U.S. president said to the Fox News reporter. He said, if Iran does not sign the deal, the whole country is getting blown up. So, that's even wilder than the True Social post. So we're back to these wild, wide-ranging threats again. So, I'm going to leave it up to y'all, how y'all feel about that. I'm just not going to interject my opinion here on this, but that is the statement right now, according to Fox. And if you believe it, we're back to the same square one situation yet again. So there you have it. But moving into our next one here, this one's going to go to Valina Charkova, and we've seen here another quite interesting piece of news. Apparently, the proxy forces in Yemen, the Iranian proxy forces that is announcing that they will close the Bab al-Mandeb Strait, which is a very critical strait in the Red Sea, by the way, if the U.S. president continues to quote-unquote obstruct peace. And the activation of Iran-backed proxy forces is not a coincidence, in Valina's words, and I would definitely agree with that. This follows an escalation protocol. Now that we're seeing that the war might restart right now between Iran and the United States, it appears to be, in my opinion, that it looks like they're going to be closing the secondary strait as a way to try to gain leverage over the United States. So we had heard this before, but it sounds like the Yemen proxy forces are back to it again. We did see that they attempted to hijack a ship, allegedly, apparently about a week or two ago before the ceasefire went into effect, but now it looks like they're going to try to give it a second go from the looks of it. So we'll have to see how this goes right here, but certainly a pretty large threat to close another critical lane at a very bad time when the Hormuz Strait is still closed. So we'll have to watch that one very closely. But moving into our next one, we also have a post from Open Source Intel. And I know everybody here, they love to see the military planes, and we have some images here from apparently Paphos Airport in Cyprus. We see some US C-17s right here on the runway. There's one of them right there, and we're also about to jump to our next image, and there's a front view of the snoot of the aircraft right there. And as you can see, a very, very big one. And these flights right here are non-stop, by the way. They're coming into the region non-stop from the United States, and of course, it's for obvious reasons. Now that we're seeing the war's about to restart, they're bringing in munitions, and they've been doing this ever since the ceasefire has been in effect. So we've been shuttling a whole bunch of stuff into the Middle East, and they are locked and loaded right now and ready for the war. And this is apparently one of the last few flights that will be arriving before the ceasefire expires. So pretty big pictures right there. But moving into our next one, we also have another post from Open Source Intel. Meanwhile, it's not a good day for Iran. It looks like one of those spontaneous, mysterious fires that nobody's really sure how got started, by the way, apparently has broken out and gone bad-e-kavas in Iran. So, just like the Iranian regime's gone bad, apparently Gone Bad's having a bit of a problem as well. In all seriousness, though, we can see that a large fire at a factory linked to the shipbuilding industry has apparently taken place. And this appears to be a very big fire. And you can see right here in the preview of the video, it's a very big one. So let's take a look at it and see exactly how large this is, and also what exactly is on fire. Let's take a look at the video. So it looks to be a pretty large fire right there. It looks like hell is blazing over. But as you can see though, it's filling the sky with smoke, and this is allegedly at the site of a shipbuilding facility that we're hearing about. And it looks like the entire building is burning to the ground from the looks of it. So yeah, I really don't see any firefighters putting this out. It looks like it's just burning. So this is right up toward the northern part of Iran, sort of near the coast. So we're really not sure how this got started. It could have just been mere coincidence. It could be one of those spontaneous, mysterious fires that happens to break out every once in a while, or it could have been maybe something a little bit more intentional. We just simply don't know, but I kind of have a hunch about what this could be about. Shipbuilding, the war, Iran. I think we might have an idea, but as you can see though, it's a pretty big one, and that is that story. So moving into our next one, this one's going to go to Ocean Technical. We've also seen this morning that apparently Iranian forces appear to have blocked another pair of tankers from transiting the Strait of Hormuz, and the tankers, which are both allegedly sanctioned according to Ocean Technical, were forced to turn around in the strait while attempting to cross this morning, and the Hormuz remains mostly closed. And I would go a step further and say it's not mostly closed. I would say it's all the way closed that we're seeing today. So even if you can get past the Iranians somehow, which is pretty hard to do right now, you still got to contend with the U.S. blockade on the other side of it, which is not going to let you through either. So as you can see right here, this is apparently some of these ships that got turned around, and you see they did a quick U-turn, by the way, right near Larak Island, and it looks like they tried to go through one of the little Iranian toll booth areas or something, but it looks like they didn't even get through that. So apparently it was either an LPG tanker or some type of oil tanker that was trying to get through here, and they weren't successful. Here's another one. They turned around a little bit earlier. They must have seen the other ship and decided they're going to get the hell out of there quicker. So as you can see, there's some ships. They weren't able to get through. Hormuz is closed. But moving on to our next one, this one goes to Ocean Defender. We're also hearing some more details about the talks that are about to take place yet again, at least allegedly, according to U.S. officials, about the situation in Iran. So we're hearing that apparently U.S. officials are now telling one mainstream media outlet that Vice President Vance is apparently going to Islamabad for these talks. Now, there was a little bit of confusion. Earlier, it was being reported that Vance would not be going, the vice president. They were saying that he would not go because apparently there was a problem with sending Secret Service on such short notice. But now it sounds like he's probably going, but we don't know for certain. So we're not really sure who exactly is going, but right now it appears to be some high-level U.S. officials will at least be attending, but we're not totally sure if it's going to include the vice president or not. But moving into our next post here, this one's going to go to Fightex News. And right here we have some bad news for these upcoming talks. It looks like it's already kind of doomed from the start. We're seeing that Iranian sources are telling another mainstream media outlet that they believe they're facing a deception by the enemy, meaning the United States, and that they're on the verge of a new round of escalation. So that's not a good start. But get this though, it gets even worse. So let's jump into our next one here. This one goes to open source intel. And we've also heard from Iranian state media that apparently Iran has rejected participating in a second round of talks with the United States. So it might not matter whether or not the vice president wants to go to Islamabad or not. They might not even have talks with the Iranians because they might not even show up. So all I can say is right now it's a bit of a mess. We'll have to see how these talks go, whether or not they actually happen or not. Right now it's kind of up in the air. But moving on to our next post though, this one is going to go to Neat Intel. And we kind of covered this last night a little bit at the very end of our stream, but just to cover this again for everybody that might not have heard this, we did see last night that there was apparently strange traffic, radio traffic happening between some of the E-6B doomsday planes that fly around and act like basically airborne command post in the event that something happens here domestically in the United States. And apparently they're broadcasting very long messages, but we really can't deduce much from this. It's just unusual. That's all we can say about it. But you know, we don't really know what's being said. And also, by the way, I'm not going to bother playing the video. It simply has a whole bunch of phonetic letters being read off in it, and that's code for somebody. Somebody out there knows what that means, but we don't, because obviously we're not in the decoding business. So, you know, we'll have to see what this means right here, but it has caught a lot of people's attention that maybe this could be indicating that something big is coming, possibly, but we simply don't know. But just to report that to you, I'm sure everybody's heard that somewhere, that we are seeing these radio messages coming from the doomsday planes apparently around the world, and we believe to be that multiple are airborne. And moving into our next post here from Neat Intel, apparently we got some more details about what these planes are doing, because we can see right here that at the time there are apparently no E-6Bs showing up on flight radars, that is, despite knowing that several are airborne, and we're even hearing the messages on the radio broadcast in our last post showing that they are airborne, but apparently they're flying dark for the most part. They're not flying with their transponders on, and we're seeing that apparently one of the E-6B doomsday planes sent out a message regarding Fairchild Air Force Base in Washington, but obviously nobody knows what the message means, and it's not meant for us to decode it, by the way. It's supposed to be secret. So this is right here apparently some of the data from that flight, and you can see right there it is, and that is proof that it was last heard an hour ago as of the time of this post this morning. So it's up to basically mystery what's going on with this, but it does have a lot of people speculating, and it's making a speculation run rampant about what this could be. So we'll just have to see, but an interesting sign. But moving into our next one here, we do have something concrete, and this one goes to Egypt Intel Observer. And this post right here is a pretty interesting one, because it looks like the U.S. Air Force has deployed yet another RC-135W rivet joint signals intelligence aircraft, and apparently the aircraft arrived earlier yesterday at an airport near the Middle East after flying in from the United States via RAF Mildenhall in the UK. So this aircraft here, by the way, just in case you don't know what this aircraft is designed to intercept signals intelligence, meaning radio signals and anything that emits a signal. This is what this aircraft picks up, and it relays that intelligence to the theater commanders in the area, and it gives them a whole bunch of information that they use to make command decisions. So this right here is a critical aircraft if you're planning on conducting strikes on Iran. If you're planning on maybe like a ground operation, this is a critical aircraft for that. And it's arrived in the area apparently near the Chania airport. So we'll have to see. It seems to me like another preparation. We are seeing this as confirmed information right here. But moving into our next one here, we do have a post from Max25. And let's take a break for a second from the news about the whole thing going on right now with Iran, the United States, etc. Let's move into something a little bit more familiar. Right now we have something going on inside of Russia and Ukraine. We are seeing that it's a very, very dirty air morning in Sevastopol, Crimea. It looks like something's on fire in Sevastopol, and it's something likely relating to the military infrastructure in this city. So let's take a look. It looks like we're seeing fires in Iran, we're seeing fires in Russia. It seems to be that the world is kind of on fire. But let's take a look at the video and see what's happening. And oh boy, that's a big fire right there. As you can see, that thing is burning up. This is a rough building too. Man, that's a rough building. But as you can see though, that thing's burning. There's a big fire going in the air right there. And this is Sevastopol right here. So Sevastopol's got a little bit of a fire situation going on. It looks like it's pretty severe right there, but not much to see except for a fire. So let's move into our next post here. And this is a little bit more interesting. And this one goes to Fabian Hoffman. And we've got some information that apparently the Ruskies are getting so broke right now inside of Russia that their missiles are starting to get highly inaccurate according to this report. And we can see right here the accuracy of some Russian missiles and rockets appears to be allegedly declining as a result of sanctions of electronic components on Russia. And apparently some of their cruise missiles are becoming a little bit wonky because they can't get access to all these electronic components that are currently being sanctioned and can't be sent to Russia. And now they're using apparently components that aren't as great according to the report. And it's getting a little bit troublesome because now apparently the deviation's 50 to 100 meters, which makes these missiles basically inaccurate as hell. So that's apparently hampering the Russian war effort just a little bit, because if you don't have an accurate missile, it's kind of hard to, hit your target a little bit. Common sense, I would say. So apparently this is what the report's claiming. We'll have to find out if that stays true, but I mean, based on what we've seen so far, it looks like Russia is having some problems that are similar to this, and this could be true as well, but we'll have to see. But moving into our next post here, this one's going to go to JN Kiev. Also today, we're seeing that the Russians appear to be panicking like crazy this morning over several things. Number one, we're seeing people publicly say they want to oust Putin, which is crazy work. We're also seeing other people claiming that apparently Ukraine's using the Baltic states to attack Russia, which is bogus. And we're also seeing this other guy here on the Russian back channel who's apparently thinking that everything west of the Urals will soon be Ukraine from the sounds of it. So they're really getting paranoid. But as you can see right here in the post, it says this: factories producing all military and military-related products should be moved beyond the Urals. For now, this distance should suffice for now. On the other hand, the economy and the existing infrastructure are unlikely to allow for the same feat of labor as our ancestors in 1941. So, in other words, if you're not sure what he's talking about here, basically what they're saying is Ukraine's gotten so good at hitting all the Russian targets inside of Russia, they're saying move the factories. They're saying just move the factories beyond the Urals so that way they can't get hit by Ukraine. So, I mean, you can't just move a factory. I mean, also, by the way, Russia's dead broke, so they don't have the money to start moving factories, so they're screwed. So I'm not sure what this guy's yapping about, talking about moving factories. That's crazy. You can't just move a factory. It's not that simple. So, Russian logic, a little bit out there, I would say the least, but they're scared. That's the point, though. They're scared that Ukraine's hitting everything, and for Ukraine to be losing, according to some people, it looks like they've got the Russians on the run from the looks of it. But with that, folks, that is actually our last piece of news of the video. But be sure to smack that like button if you found the video informative, and also subscribe to the channel as well if you also want to keep up to date with our daily uploads. And also a big one right here, if you want to support our channel, you can do so on our Patreon page, and the link is in the description below for Patreon, and you can go over there and sign up for a monthly membership, and it could be even $5 or $10 a month. Any amount helps the channel tremendously, and it's that viewer support that keeps us on the air. And from time to time we post some behind the scenes events on the channel over there, and also we do post some personal stuff over there on the channel as well, on the Patreon, that is. So if you want to sign up for that, we do appreciate you, and we appreciate all of our existing Patreon supporters very, very much. But with that, we look forward to seeing you all tonight at 10 p.m. Eastern on our next Nightly War News stream. And with that, bye-bye for now.